All right, let's go back to Turkey. Remember last week we talked about the Turkey submarine has the new control center design that looks like something out of Star Trek. And we all kind of joked about it, but at least they're thinking outside the box. I'll give them points for creativity. Now look at this. The IDEF 2021 is a convention of, military technologies and demonstrations and things like that. I eventually want to go to one of these and give you guys a firsthand account of the systems I see. But until that time, we will read pieces like this from the Naval News, written by, let's credit the author here, Tayfun Özberk from Naval News, writes, the IDF 2021 Turkish company STM unveiled the STM 500 and the TS 17000 submarine designs, while Dirsan unveiled a light submarine design. So 3 new submarines of different capabilities and sizes coming out of Turkey in the future. Let's see what the first one is. So the TS 1700, they said 17,000 up here. That might be a typo. 1700 is a variant of the Type 209. So this is probably a modified Type 209 or changed, upgraded, re-engineered Type 209. I think of it as a remaster for video games. Yeah, they're remastering the Type 1700 as a TS 1700. The submarine TS 1700 is a diesel electric submarine from which the STM developed the conceptual design. It is propelled by an electric motor. They're all going to this electric motor propulsion now. It's often a shaftless system too. I don't know if this one's shaftless, but that's the new hotness in submarine technology propulsion is electric motor, no shaft. You don't have a shaft, you reduce a lot of noise if you can have a shaftless propulsion. 2 diesel generators assisted with an air-independent propulsion AIP. The platform is capable of diving to depths of more than 300 meters. It is capable of housing 25 plus 6 personnel for 90 days at sea. That's probably rounding up a lot because they don't have enough food or they just don't eat very much. Maybe that could be it too. The TS 1700 is mainly designed for a platform for submarine warfare, intelligence, and surveillance. So ISR, it's going to go out and record things, whether it's radio transmissions or sonars or whatever. It can do both of those. So it is 60 meters long, 6 meters wide, kind of small. Sail height's only 13 meters. Okay. Displaces only 1,700 tons submerged. Very small compared to modern diesel boats. For instance, the Soryu class coming out of Japan right now, displacing somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 tons. This is less than half of that. We'll just say half of that. Half the size of the Japanese diesel boat that's being produced right now. Okay, the performance is 20 plus knots, cruise speed 4 knots. These are all reasonable numbers. Freshwater 13 tons. That's not much. Yeah, they must have the ability to make freshwater. That would make sense. The next submarine is a mini sub, so obviously this one won't be very big. The ST Mini 500 is a shallow water diesel electric attack sub that was developed by STM as a conceptual design for 30 days at depths of more than 250 meters. A platform can sustain 18 plus 6 special forces, and is ready to fire its 4 tubes, which will be loaded with different variety of 8 modern heavyweight torpedoes. Now, one way that they can save space on these mini subs is keeping all of the torpedo tubes external. In other words, there's no torpedo room. You load your torpedoes in port, you go to sea with 1 weapon in each tube, and that's it. That's all you get, because your mission isn't to go out and fight. It's to go and deploy and retrieve special forces and maybe do some ISR as well. In addition to the general submarine operations, STM 500 mini sub is specifically designed to conduct shallow water operations. In addition to general submarine operations, it also carries out UXV operations, which will entail deployment of unmanned underwater vehicles when necessary. I don't know if Turkey has an indigenous UUV, but if they did, this would be a good platform to operate that with. Now let's see the design here. So overall length is 42 meters. This thing is tiny. Maximum or beam is 8 meters. Actually, it's fatter than the first one we talked about. I wonder if these numbers are backwards. I don't know. She only displaces 540 tons. Very small. She has a diesel and an AIP for 4,000 miles. She does have the new lithium ion batteries with the AIP system. That's cool. That's what you want to see. If your new AIP doesn't include lithium ion or some form of energy cell, you're not the new hotness. You don't even call yourself AIP, even though a lot of people do. I mean, you could call your nuclear submarine air independent because it is, but we all know the new accepted definition of AIP is energy cells. And some manufacturers that don't use energy cells claim AIP because technically they do have an AIP propulsion. All right. And the last one, the light submarine. This is the one that's built by Deersan. Really cool model there. Looks very similar to the Swedish A26. The sail does. It says the exhibition featured a brand new light submarine, a Turkish shipbuilder, Deersan. According to the label attached to the scale model, the light submarine, the boat measures 33 meters in length, 3.5 meters in width. That's definitely a typo. There's no way. It would look like a freaking rectangle from the bow. Anyway, that's not right. Okay, I know it's just a concept, but the dimensions don't make any sense. The submarine's calculated top speed when submerged is only 10 knots, is more than 10 knots. Okay, and tops out at 6 knots when surfaced. Sure, it's a concept. How do you even get those numbers? The author. Okay, this is important. The author understands what he just wrote is conceptual. So he adds his opinion. The conceptual studies conducted by the companies are a result of the knowledge gained from the indigenous trend of the Turkish defense industry. Such what-if studies would enrich the design database and provide more options to the decision makers when the time comes. Okay, so this is just an idea that they have. And hey, take the parts you like, leave the parts you don't. I kind of get that. He says, thanks to the small size of the mini-subs are extremely efficient assets in littoral waters. In the course of the anti-submarine warfare operation, it is extremely difficult to locate and destroy an adversary submarine in littoral waters. That is really true. The reason for this is that the performance of the sonars in such an environment is significantly reduced as a result of background noise and salinity changes. There's a lot of fresh water in littoral seawater. That makes your sound bounce all over the damn place. You hear somebody over here, but he's actually over there, like 10 degrees off. Despite having less endurance, it's like an echo chamber. Yeah, you talk and you hear yourself everywhere. Despite having less endurance and operational range than larger submarines, many submarines have been more difficult to detect than larger submarines. That's fair. Because of this, they have a smaller acoustic and magnetic signature that makes them more effective. Well, it makes them more effective for littoral operations. I'll give them that. I think the author knows what he's talking about. And this is a pretty interesting piece. What do you guys think of these new mini subs? Do you think mini subs are the new trend? Go home, your sonar signals are drunk. Yeah, in littoral waters, I've seen this myself. It's really crazy. But you get these vertical layers. You know how layers are horizontal and you go through them by changing depth? Well, there are places in the world, and sometimes in deep water too, you can get a vertical layer that goes down to 900 feet. It's like a wall. And when you go through the wall, you're in a whole new sonar environment. Yeah. Well, littoral waters have that all over the damn place. So imagine walking through a room in the dark with lots of curtains. And every time you pull one curtain aside, you can hear more of the room, but less of the room that you just left. In other words, you're hearing a different part of the room. That is my best description of what littoral waters sound like. You're always peering around the next curtain, and that curtain's always closing behind you. So you don't hear what you just left. You hear something new, and that happens in real time throughout the entire deployment that you're in littoral waters. It's really creepy and crazy. And sometimes the bearings are off as much as 5-10 degrees of contact. It's nuts. Really fun environment to operate in because it's challenging, especially from a sonar perspective. But I can understand why people don't want to operate in it. Are mini subs submerged LCS? Jumper says, are mini subs the submerged LCS? Yeah, the LCS won't last long in a fight, if that's what you're getting at. Yeah. Who else says this? Intimidate says, I can see the logic of small subs in shallow seas and areas, and if the navies need an extra punch on the cheap. That's true. These are relatively low cost, and near the shoreline, they will be effective. This is almost like a mobile mine. Instead of having a minefield that you have to map and always kind of go around, you can just deploy a couple of these. You don't need the minefield. You've got some small subs with torpedoes on it. MD says, perhaps not mini subs, but I think the U.S. designers could learn a few things from the Soviets regarding automation and cut down on the size of our nuke boats. Yeah, we seem to have a real problem with automation. We like to manually do a lot of things on our ships and submarines. A lot of the automation that's come along in the past 30 years for the Navy have been in sensor operation, performance detection, things like that. And an AI computer sits alongside a sonar operator now, and has been for years. This is not new, and helps him point out contacts on his display. Yeah. How that's done, still not public, but when it is, I'll tell you how it works. It's pretty cool. All right, let's move on to the final piece of the day. This is the Swedish one. And look how similar this sail is to the mini sub that we just looked at here. But Saab is awarded a contract to expand the capabilities of the already very capable A26 Belkin class submarines. Saab has today, it says from the piece here, received a further order from the Swedish Defense Material Administration, FMV, to continue the development and production as well as expand the capabilities of the two A26 class submarines, previously ordered by Sweden. The order value is 5.2 billion SEK. I guess that's Swedish kroner. I think that's what that means. 2.5 billion SEK to deliver two submarines that will take place in 2027 and 2028. So this sounds like not an improvement of the two submarines that they already have, but two additional submarines. I think that's what they're saying. It could be a little more clear there. Let's read more from the piece and see what it says. Saab is currently constructing the world's most advanced conventional submarine. The new capabilities that are to be added to the A26 will give an additional edge with the weapon systems and stealth technology, among other things. With support from Saab's skilled employees and investments. This sounds like a PR piece. Anyway, it says, with Saab's skilled employees and investments, the important industrial submarine capability in Sweden has been restored, says Michael Johansson of Saab's president and CEO. Yeah, okay. That was very corporate speak. Well done. He got it into the piece, though. It's like free advertising for Saab. Which I don't mind, whatever. Yeah. June 2015, Sweden ordered a new A26 Belkin class submarine, which is tailor-made for Swedish conditions. The capability to construct and build submarines places Sweden among the few countries in the world with the ability to develop advanced submarines. The Swedish submarine capability is among the most cost-effective and modern on the market. They were a contender for a brief time to build the submarines for Australia. And the reason why they didn't get the job, and which is something that the CEO is kind of addressing in his statement, is they were not prepared to follow up their bid with actionable, productivity. They just weren't in a position to begin producing these submarines back in 2014 when they were negotiating with Australia. But it seems like they've come a long way. And the piece isn't clear. It seems like they're building two A26s. We know that. But apparently they're not even in the water yet, and they're going to just improve them before they're done, is what it looks like to me. Okay, the A26 was... the program was finally launched in 2015. Placed an order for two new generation submarines of the Royal Swedish Navy based on the plans initially laid out under the Kockums supervision. Saab's engineers in Malmö and Karlskrona worked intensively on the boat's design. Okay, the A26 class 65 meter long modern submarine will displays 2,000 tons on the surface, equipped with a Sterling AIP. That's some old school AIP, man. You might as well drop AIP off that because that means nothing. There's no way that they're going to see... There's no way the A26 is going to have a Sterling engine. No way. That's like a step backwards. Like the Gotland had the Sterling engine, and that was revolutionary for the time. But that was also the 1990s and 2000s. Man, it's 2020 plus. It's time to move on from the Sterling. The Sterling is a great design, but it has severe limitations. The main one being speed. It just can't go fast. And it changes speed very slowly, too. Okay, anyway, it can dive for up to 18 days, and standard complement is 26 sailors. Very small sub. Wow, very small. And again, yeah, it appears that this is just an improvement of the two submarines that they ordered back in 2015. This is not 2 additional submarines. Interesting. Yeah. Very, very cool. I love the photo, though. That's got to be... Yeah, it's a rendering. I was like, there's no way they took a picture. It's not built yet. Okay. Let's see. What do you guys say about this? George says, would be nice if our subs could access the SOSUS network while on station. And the SEC is the Swedish krona. Thank you. Yep. Thanks for backing me up on that. Ike Sucks says, it was the Swedish news the other day. The program is likely to be delayed a year due to overcost. Oh, so they just got more money to help complete the program. And then along with the money for justification reasons, they said, hey, this is going to get the program back on track, which is what the CEO was saying. And we're going to use the money to make a better submarine. Okay. I have a little better picture now of what's going on. Apparently the A26 ran out of money, got delayed. The 2 submarines were not completed. This money will complete them with an expanded capabilities. Got it. I should write these pieces because that makes more sense than what I just read. Anyway, with that, I can't leave it at that. Martin Manarech that wrote this, he's a great journalist. I'm just giving him a hard time. All right, we're going to wrap it up here, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. We'll play some more Cold Waters. All right, see you guys. Be right back.